Hey guys, this is Andy with Get You Wellies. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about how to string tomatoes up. Here under the shade cloth I already have some tomatoes strung up, and you've seen me do this before under the shade cloth, but today we're going to take a look at these other tomatoes that are coming along really well, but they're getting tall and they need some kind of support. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first of all, as always, why don't you get your wellies? Meet me in the garden. Okay guys, so these tomatoes I put in several weeks ago. They were featured on the last garden tour. Lots of flowers, as you can see, but they're getting up very close to the top of the fence. So much like the ones in the under the shade cloth, what we can do with tomatoes as they get taller, if they're strung up, we can lower them and then lean them over. So what I'm thinking about doing is leaning all of these tomato plants this way, and when you lean them, you give yourself effectively more space to grow up. So that's what we're going to do. Now to do that we need some kind of solid structure to attach the strings to once we've tied them up. So there are literally hundreds of ways, I'm sure, to do that. I've seen it done with just wooden structures, which is a good idea. I've seen it done with PVC. I've seen it done off conduit like I have here under the shade cloth. So I just have a piece of conduit up here. I like that, but I'm kind of wanting something that's a little bit more flexible, just because these are going to be in these beds with a wooden fence that has some peaks and troughs in the layout of that. Some of my beds are higher up than others. And so just to allow for some change in contour, I'd like to do mine out of PVC this time. So I've elected to use this 1-inch PVC. It is schedule 40, so it should last out here for quite a long time. I got 2 pieces of that. Each of those is 10 foot long. So I'm going to, I have a coupler so I can connect those two together, and the next thing I need to do is have a way of attaching them to the fence. So I did a little hunting around in Lowe's, and I was just looking at different right angle, like shelving type material, to where I could maybe attach something underneath here. But I found these, and there's a couple of things I like. If I wanted to go to conduit later, this notch would be good for that, and to use my 1-inch PVC I can rest them in here. So my plan is to mount these. I've got 3 of them. We're about 8 feet apart on posts, so we're going to have a couple of feet over at each end, which is fine because you want to be able to move these along anyway. Now as you can see, they attach with just 3 screws to the fence, so I'm going to go ahead and put those on. I already went ahead and put 2 on. There is one of them, and there's another. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead over where these newer tomatoes went in. I'm going to set one up down there as well. Alright guys, so you get the idea of how this is going to work. Okay guys, so it's actually the next day. What I'm going to do here is just attach one piece to the other using this coupler right here. So this is just a simple case of putting PVC glue in here. So I'm going to do that and then just literally push them together, and I'll probably just let them dry up here because it's pretty flat, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So let me grab the PVC glue and we'll do it. So I'm going to put the camera down to do this, but I'm going to put glue on the connector here and on each end of the pipe, and it's just the clear PVC pipe glue that you can pick up in the hardware store. And then I'm just going to kind of assemble it and let it sit in here to dry, and it dries pretty quick. It's warm out here, so it won't take long at all. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Hey guys, so here we are. We have the coupler glued in place. I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes. The PVC, you can kind of see now how that's going to take shape. And as you can maybe see from this angle, there is some contour to that pipe, and it's somewhat flexible. So when there's the weight of tomatoes on there, it's going to flex down a little bit. So, you know, I may end up having to do something else to reinforce the top, but that's okay. I've got plans to put some bolts through the PVC at about 2-foot intervals, which is roughly how far apart the plants are, and that way we'll be able to go ahead and attach them to the PVC, and then we can move the PVC along, or we can unhook one plant and hook it to the next eyelet. So I'll show you that. That'll make a little more sense as I do that, but let's let this dry and I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so this is my choice of bolt. It has an eyelet at one end. This will be at the bottom of the pipe. I'm going to drill a hole all the way through and then put the nut on the top. So this is, I'll just be honest, this is not the cheapest way to do this project. To go really cheap, you could just put some wood along the top here and attach that and then just use eyelets. You could do that, but I'm kind of wanting something that's going to last a while, so I'm going a little above and beyond. And you know, remember I said at the beginning, there's probably 100 ways to do this, and so this is just kind of an idea, and you can adjust that to meet your budget or your needs any way you like to. But just to kind of give you an idea, this is the way I'm going to do it. These also are available at big box stores if you want to get these. This is the 1/4 inch by 4 inches long, so it's long enough to go through that pipe. Alright guys, so now I put these hooks in here, these bolts with the eyelets on. The one thing I have determined is I do need to buy a couple more of them, and I'm probably going to extend this pipe just to the end of the next post, just because of the way these tomatoes, I'm going to lean them away from where I'm at right now, and so I need at least another one, and extend this pipe a little bit. I put them in the other way too. So the problem I have is these cages are not going to be coming off because there's so much growth on these plants that I can't get them off without damaging anything. So I'm probably going to have to just do the best I can with these ones that are already in. This one is a determinate, and it's probably not going to get much bigger than this, so that one's okay in a cage. These others are all indeterminate varieties, so I want those to lean away from me. So on those I can string those up and I'll take the cages off, so I'll show you that on the next video. But anyway, that's the build. Like I said, you can modify that if you wanted to do that a little cheaper, or with something that you find more aesthetically pleasing, more durable, however you're thinking on that. I tend to overthink things sometimes, and a couple of my builds viewers have suggested, you know, easier ways, and I'm definitely open to that. But I do like these. They contour quite nicely with the flower beds, but I do need to get at least 1 or 2 more hooks, so I'll do that tomorrow, and then I will show you how I do the actual stringing up of the tomatoes. Well guys, as we catch the end of the light today, I'm going to wrap this up, and we'll talk a little bit more about tomatoes and how to help them grow upwards on the next video, which hopefully will be really soon, probably this coming weekend, so look out for that. Thank you so much for joining me in the garden. Always glad to have you tag along and see what's going on. It's slowly coming together. I think it's going to be a good year. Really hope a good year for tomatoes. So join me on the next video, and until then, bye now.